In this video, we'll be discussing finding components of a composite function. So this is kind of backwards of what we've been doing. Before, they gave you the functions and they want you to find the composition. Well, here they give you the composition already and they want you to figure out what the component functions are. So in other words, basically strip them apart. Okay? So if you look at this example, it's a calculus application. We want to find the components of the composite function. So we want to find the two functions f and g such that f composed g of x is the h function, where h of x equals x squared plus 1 to the 50th power. Okay? So now notice there's basically two functions involved here, x squared plus 1 and something to the 50th power. So what we're going to do is make f of x x to the 50th power. Now what's being inserted into this is x squared plus 1. So the insert function is kind of the key here, is what are you putting into that to get cap h of x? Well, you're putting in x squared plus 1. So x squared plus 1 is the other function. That's the g of x. So g of x is x squared plus 1. So notice if you put x squared plus 1 into f of x, you put in x squared plus 1 into x, you'll get x squared plus 1 to the 50th power, which is exactly what h of x is. So these are your two component functions. Okay? So they're very simple to do. You just have to figure out what's inside and see what you have. So, and this is what it looks like in a more visual representation. So if you look at g of x, it's x squared plus 1. F is going to be x to the 50th power. So you place the g of x into the f, you get the h of x. So it's one big jump over, in other words. So look at another example here. Finding the components of a composite function, so the same thing. So now look what you have. H of x is 3 over x minus 5 squared. So what are you going to place into that? Well, the x minus 5, that part right there, is going to be what you're going to place in. So if you have f as 3 over x squared, but you place that x minus 5 into there, so g of x is x minus 5, and then you place that into f of x, which is 3 over x squared. So 3 over x squared, and then what are you going to place into that? G of x. So f composed g of x is f of g of x. So you take the red function, g of x, and place it into the f of x, which is 3 over x squared, and look at there. A lot of times people are like, how do you know which one's which? Usually whatever's in parentheses, if you let that be the first function, in this case g of x, and then replace what you made g of x with an x. For example, if I took x minus 5 and I just said, okay, that's g of x. Okay, then replace that with term with x. You end up with 3 over x squared, and that's your first function. So it's just basically one change for another is what you're doing. Okay, so it's not too bad if you just try to make it as simple as possible. And by the way, there are more than one answer to these compositions like this. You can make them different things. This is not one of those types of problems that you only have one answer. So you could have a different answer. They don't really tell you that, but it could be written that way. I'll give you an example on this one. You could technically make g of x as x minus 5 squared. If you make g of x equal to x minus 5 squared, then and change f of x to 3 over x, you would have the same thing. So in other words, why did we just make why did we make the g of x just the x minus 5? Why didn't we make it x minus 5 squared? We could have, but then that would change the function f to 3 over x. And it's perfectly legal to do it that way as well. So anyway, so that concludes this video. If you have any questions on it regarding this or anything else, feel free to contact me, and you have a good day.